Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to be taking a look at ghosties, gowlies, and long-leggedy beasties, and possibly even things that go boom in the night. Today we're going to take a look at Kaiju number 8 and one of the ghosts that have shown up. Specifically, I want to take a look and ask, why did Kafka see the ghost at the shrine when he saw it? Up till this point, we've just been assuming that the little kaiju inside of him detected something in the shrine, maybe the corpse or remains of a kaiju slayer that was a previous host. But given the context that we've got from chapter 78, and there will be some spoilers for chapter 78 and 9 in this video, I think there's another option that we could look at. Basically, there are two base theories for what happened. One, that little guy, the kaiju inside of Kafka, detected another kaiju and transmitted the information on what he detected to Kafka's brain. That's what I kind of think a lot of us were thinking when the ghost first showed up. Because we saw the kaiju inside of Kafka do that thing before, once at the beginning when it told him exactly what was coming in chapter 1. And then we saw the Kafka, even in his human form, untransformed, detect when Kaiju number 10 transformed in the attack on Tachikawa base. So my first thought was just that little guy was detecting something in the shrine. But then I remembered that in Japanese shrines, the vast majority of bodies are cremated. So what would the little guy have been detecting? But the kind of thought had settled down that, well, perhaps the little guy was just remembering a previous host he had. But if he was remembering a previous host, why would the perspective have been what we saw? Because what we saw was looking at another warrior from a distance. Had that been a previous host, the perspective should have been from within the host, not externally to the host, which might have been artistic license, but Matsumoto's pretty usually sharper than that. With the context of chapter 79, with the context of Kokoru seeing her mother, but seeing her mother from the rear, from the context of Kaiju number 4 sharing its memories, which we now know that even the Kaiju suits can do, I'm thinking that either was a personal memory of a little guy or a genetic memory, but that the figure that we saw was not little guy's host. So let's look at the context of that scene. What had been Kikoru gets these memories of her mother from Kaiju number 4 when she is actively doing what her mother did, when she is training, striving, reaching to be like her mother. So when did Kafka, through the little guy, see that memory of the samurai? He saw it right after he had begun training with Vice Captain Hoshina. Now, the whole reason that Vice Captain Hoshina took him to that shrine was it was a very special, important place to Vice Captain Hoshina. Vice Captain Hoshina, we know, has ancestors buried there. Vice Captain Hoshina, we know, comes from a long line of kaiju-slaying swordsmen who have been in the business for generations, hundreds of years, for at least 700 years. So while we don't know for certain that any of Kaiju number 8's or the little guy's previous hosts are buried there at the shrine, we do know that Vice Captain Hoshina's ancestors are buried at the shrine. And just as Kikoru only saw her mother after training with the Kaiju number 4 suit, Kafka only saw that ghost after training with Vice Captain Hoshina. So I'm thinking that this memory, whether it's a genetic generational memory, because we've seen that Kaiju number 9 can pass along memories from one body to another, that Kaiju number 9 can spawn memories in his children. For instance, he gave Kaiju number 15 the memories of Kikoru. I'm thinking that perhaps rather being that the little guy, Kafka's kaiju, rather than that being an old ancient kaiju, it's rather a young kaiju with old memories. And that those memories might be coming from an kaiju ancestor faced that samurai at the shrine. perhaps the little guy's kaiju ancestor was the enemy of that samurai, but I don't think so. From the context, when Kikoru got those memories, it seems to be that the person who activates the ghost has to have been doing the same thing that the ghost was doing. So in this memory, the little guy must have been training with that samurai. So that puts it in an interesting perspective. That samurai might have been one of Vice Captain Hoshina's ancestors, and we're seeing that ancestor from the perspective of another being, be that a pure kaiju or a kaiju symbiote like Kafka Kaiju number 8. So that's my theory about what that ghost was that Kafka saw at the shrine. That it was some ancestor of Vice Captain Hoshina's who had, in the memory, been training with some genetic ancestor of little guys. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Do you think that what Kafka saw was little guy's direct genetic ancestor, or was it Vice Captain Hoshina's direct genetic ancestor? Where do you think those ghosts come from? Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment below telling me what you think. Go check out my book, Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out. And peace out, my wonderful viewers.